Welcome to the Shape Up Summit. I'm your host, Ronnie Tsunami Gandiza, the CEO of the Plant Based Network. I'm here today with a very good friend of mine, Linda Middlesworth. Before becoming a Food for Life instructor, Linda developed a healthy, low fat, whole foods vegan mentoring program. Her personal mission is to help people regain their health and well being through nutrition, education, and by showing them how to lead a lifestyle of compassion to promote healthful eating and animal advocacy. She mentors her clients with grocery store tours to help them identify and make healthy eating choices. And Linda supplies them with recipes and informational books from Dr. Neil Barnard, Dr. John McDougall, Rip Esselstyn, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. Michael Greger, and Dr. T. Colin Campbell. All great idols of mine. Now, monthly vegan potlucks and or speakers and dine-outs are held to encourage a sense of community. And Linda often lectures at schools, universities, churches, state agencies, and libraries. In addition, she teaches step, body sculpting, and kickboxing, and is a sought-after personal trainer. Welcome, Linda.
Hi, Ronnie. Hi, everyone.
I'm a big fan of yours, and I know you've been doing so much to encourage compassion for all. And what really interested me was your work with schools. But before we go down that route, tell me a little more. What got you started eating plant-based?
Well, it took moving to Sacramento. That was 33 years ago. And my children were pretty much grown by then, but I was living there with my husband and my dogs. And I had all kinds of ill health. I had heart disease and I had cancer and I had 50 pounds I didn't want. And I was teaching at that time 25 classes of aerobics per week. And yet I was still overweight. I was still in really bad shape. I was real unhappy with myself because I couldn't figure out, I thought I was eating the American healthy diet, chicken and fish and a little cheese, a little ice cream. I thought it was perfect. And what happened is with the cancer, I had a scare with cancer earlier with a big lump in my breast, and they took that out. And I asked the doctor, does it have anything to do with my food? And he said, oh, no, your food is fine. And that's when I was eating the standard American diet. He thought it was just fine. So then fast forward, I moved to Sacramento and I'm walking with my dogs around the park there near my house with my new neighbor. And I told her about all my health issues as we walked. I said, oh, that's no problem. Just look up Dr. John McDougall and his work. So I went down that day and bought the book and read it from cover to cover. And it saved my life. That one book. I didn't even have to go see Dr. McDougall. One book did it all. And I jumped right in. And that's the beginning of my story. But 1 week later, after I told her I'd started, she said, well, you know what happens to dairy cows, don't you? And I said, no, what? Oh, I used to love the ice cream and the cheese. And she said, well, let me tell you what happens to dairy cows. After she told me that, I became an animal rights activist on the spot, and I have been ever since. I do a lot for animals as well. So that's how it all began. Got rid of all my heart disease, my cancer, my obesity, and that was 33 years ago.
33 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, what do you feel has changed since then, since you first started versus today?
Well, there's a lot more vegan restaurants. There's a lot more vegan products in the stores. They're not all healthy vegan, but they are products. And there are many more groups. And PCRM is doing amazing. That's Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, who I work for as a nutrition and cooking instructor, called Food for Life. They have instructors like myself all around the world in every major city. So if you need one of us, a Food for Life instructor, you just look up PCRM and look for an instructor in your area. And they teach cooking classes and nutrition classes like I do, no matter where you are. Of course, today with the internet, you can live anywhere and still take the classes. So, but that's what's changed, just many more opportunities to, for people to think of vegan as not some strange thing, but rather a good thing. It used to be so negative to be a vegan that people would walk away, sometimes run away from you if you brought up the word vegan. Or even plant-based wasn't very popular because you're already challenging the person you're talking to. If you, sometimes I wear a hat that says vegan and people turn around and go the other direction. So I know they just don't want to know about it. So I know what that means. But when they see how healthy I've become and my clients have become, then they go, there must be something to that. Because I'm 77 and I feel better now than when I was 44 and I was fat, I was sick, I had cancer and heart disease and prediabetes, by the way, all gone.
Wow.
And when they see those kind of changes happen in me, they have to kind of think about, and I'm still teaching aerobics. So I plan to teach till I'm about 100, maybe. I think I'll go to 100.
There we go. So you're 77, still looking awesome and teaching aerobics.
Well, I wasn't looking awesome when I was 44 and I was teaching aerobics. I wasn't looking
Well,
awesome.
that's what I'm curious as far as the what was the response like when because people obviously had seen you when you were exercising and still but you hadn't changed your diet. What were some of the comments? Were people just completely shocked, or how did they respond when you said, "Oh, I eat plant-based"?
It was a little gradual, so I think they're still with me because they can't believe I'm still doing this. And they wow, she can do it, I can do it, right? I think that's what happened more or less. And every once in a while, I have a few people in my classes who have now gone plant-based because of me or vegan. And so that makes me very happy.
Now, what do you tell people who say, "Well, I exercise a lot, so I should be in pretty good health, and I don't really need to watch my diet as much"?
I said, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought that exactly. I exercise. I was doing 25 classes a week, and I thought I was supposed to be feeling my very best, but instead I was sick. And so I found out by changing my food that I could get well and feel really great and feel a lot lighter on my feet. I'll tell you that.
Now, what are some of the challenges that people come to you about? Because I know as the vegan mentor, you coach a number of people and you're very sought after. So why is it, or what do they come to you with? What type of illnesses are most common?
Well, heart disease is our #1 killer in this country. And so I get a lot of people with either high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So that's one that almost everyone has. And then I do have a lot of problems, people with IBS or bowel disease. So it is very common for that. Their digestive system doesn't work because they've been eating the standard American diet and they don't feel very good. And they have lots of problems with their digestion. I also have people who have arthritis or they have even cancer. I have some cancer clients too, but mostly is dealing with the heart and obesity. Almost all my clients need to lose weight. And I was there, so I understand it. I'm very empathetic with that. It's not their fault. It wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know? My doctor had never said anything about my weight or my food. Every pound you have extra, your chances for cancer and heart disease go up. So my doctor didn't mention it because doctors, unfortunately, in this country are not trained in nutrition. They're starting to change a little bit thanks to Dr. John McDougall and other doctors who are working on this. And the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is helping to certify medical doctors in lifestyle medicine. So this is good because now we can grow a little more. I taught my own doctor to go vegan, and the other doctor I had before, he refused. He was a fish eater, and he said, "I'm not giving up my fish." I said, "Okay, that's up to you, but you might have heart disease later. Thank you for that. But remember who told you about it, okay?" Yeah, and he used to hide in the hallways when he saw me coming. He said, "You're giving me homework?" I said, "Yeah, you have to know." You have to know as much about nutrition as I do, or I'm going to have to be your doctor. Okay.
Well, that's actually a good point about taking charge and being more, should we say, assertive, right? About this and learning more, and in this case, not just learning but educating your
Yeah.
doctor if they don't know enough or can't respond. And I myself, as you know, Linda, had the same issue when I couldn't walk and or see much, and my doctor said he didn't even know the term plant based. He was like,
Oh
"Well,
no,
why?"
no.
He said, "What are you eating?" I said, "Well, I'm plant based." He said, "Well, what's that?" And I was like, "Well," and I had to explain
I
that
know.
too. And so the people that you work with, you've been doing classes, and I don't even know how many, because I see you all over YouTube, and I know as a Food for Life instructor, what are some of the basics you teach people who are brand spanking new? What are some of your favorite things to show them first as
Well, it
about
depends
nutrition?
if you're talking about Vegan Mentor or if you're talking about PCRM. They're
Well,
two
let's
different
start with
things.
PCRM in terms of when
Okay.
you're
PCRM are mostly I'm teaching with them are the cancer prevention and survival and diabetes prevention and survival. And they have wonderful recipes and booklets that we hand people. Well, before COVID, we handed them to people. We have great books on different recipes they can use, why we should do plant-based, what it means to grill your meat on the barbecue. That is one of the most cancer promoting things you can do because of the heterocyclic amines. So if you take a piece of chicken, which is, I think we kill more than 1 million a minute or something in this country. But if you take a piece of chicken and put it on the barbecue and you see those grill lines on there, those are called heterocyclic amines. And that just breeds cancer. It just changes the DNA there. And when you eat it, it becomes a good cancer promoter. Now, if you put a veggie burger on the grill and you see the grill lines, it just gets warm. It doesn't hurt you. So a lot of people have no idea that I used to think that grilled chicken and grilled fish and grilled any meat was better for you because we didn't cook it in oil or anything. You just put it on the grill, but it's actually more dangerous than even cooking it in oil. So, but people come with mostly cancer and diabetes because those are the classes I concentrate on the most. They also have a kids program that I haven't been involved in because I'm so involved in the other, but they have nutrition for your kids classes as well. So I could teach that as well. And it's
Oh,
wonderful because it gives you all kinds of information on the 4 food groups we should be eating. And it also tells you some recipes and how kids, when they get to be obese, which is a problem in our country, their risk for cancer goes up too. Not just adults, but also kids. So we need to fight the obesity for children and adults.
now you started teaching in schools. How did that come about?
Um, well, I teach, I have friends who are teachers. I have college professor friends. One is a biology professor, so I go into her classes. And in her biology class, I have one coming up next week. I'll just take over the class and teach for her. This time I'm teaching diabetes, but I teach either cancer or diabetes. And she gets new students all the time, so I teach the same thing over and over. I actually have to do it Zoom wise. I used to go into the classroom before COVID, and I really loved connecting with the kids that closely, the college kids, but we're doing the distance thing now. So I try to get as personal as I can, but it's a little hard with the screen, but I show how to cook a couple of meals, like I'm doing a chili and I think I'm doing a pudding. I don't know, just some fun food for them to make, especially for college kids. They don't spend much time making things. They seem to buy things. So I'm showing them how easy it is and cheap to make easy, quick meals. And then, of course, I talk about, in this case, it'll be diabetes and how you get diabetes and what causes diabetes, because most people have this great misnomer about diabetes. They think diabetes is caused by eating sugar. Sugar has nothing to do with diabetes, absolutely nothing on how and why you get it. So and then the cancer classes, they also have their own set of recipes that are wonderful. And I teach which foods like dairy promote cancer the most. And dairy is number one.
Hmm.
So A lot of people think it's the red meat or something, but it's really the dairy is the most powerful carcinogen we have.
Now, when you go into the classes, and with the kids, I'm assuming they are not uh, fully aware of everything, or are they expecting you to talk about not eating meat?
Well, it's a biology class, that one, and they don't know, most of them, I think I get one or two once in a while, but most of the kids are not plant-based or vegan. And so they're learning this for the first time. But when I ask them how many members in your class are have diabetes, and almost everybody raises their hand.
What about for their family or for them having
I
diabetes?
said, in your class, in my class, I ask how many kids are in here who have themselves diabetes or know somebody in their family.
Gotcha.
And they almost all raised their hands. Same thing with cancer, not quite as much for cancer, but diabetes is huge. I tend to teach a lot of diabetes for that reason, but it is amazing. And they are finding out for the first time that no, sugar doesn't cause diabetes. Saturated fat causes diabetes. And I explained how that works. And they are getting a big education. And they also get a couple recipes the teacher sends over. I send to the teacher and she sends them to the kids. We also have a quiz I showed Dr. Neil Bernard short clips, video clips of him talking about introduction to diabetes and how to lose weight in diabetes, all these different segments. I do as many as I can in the hour and a half that I have. And then I talk about nutrition to the students.
So what are some of the common questions you get from the kids?
Well, first of all, they're pretty shocked that sugar has nothing to do with it. And so they ask me about that. And so I answer that one. That's a pretty common question. But mostly they get shocked about my telling them they can have potatoes. In fact, they could have potatoes all day long and it wouldn't hurt them and it wouldn't give them diabetes. I like to say that when we get carbs, I can't eat carbs, My family has diabetes. We don't eat potatoes or pasta. They can have pasta. Everybody loves pasta. I don't know anybody who doesn't love pasta. So they are shocked about that. And not all of them are going to believe me. And they don't even believe Dr. Bernard when he tells you the same thing in the video. But some of them will go home and maybe look up the book I use. The book we have, Dr. Bernard, Reversing and Prevention of Program for Prevention and Reversing Diabetes. So we always hope that they will buy the book. And when I used to go to the classroom, I had the books with me so they could buy them right there. Now we have to have them go off and buy it on their own. So we'll see. But if they don't want diabetes, and I say, look, if you don't want to follow your parents in this terrible road and maybe have a leg amputated or go blind early, then you want to know how to prevent and reverse diabetes now while you're a kid. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good line right there. So as far as the response from the kids after they learn, do you hear them, or do they share their stories about their family, or
well, we don't really have time for that in the classroom, but they can send a survey back. I send a survey and then I send for evaluation. So in there, I don't even see those, but the teacher might follow through, but I can't, on this particular case, I can't follow through with anybody.
Got it.
But I'm hoping that they have gone forward and gotten enough information to look into it.
Well, can you share some of your stories from your Food for Life classes, of people that have had a transformation?
Well, the Food for Life classes are the PCRM classes.
Right.
So my vegan mentor course is different than that.
Oh, well, share, if you don't mind, just share any story about.
Okay. Well, the vegan mentor coaching, I have wonderful stories. I have one man who had severe heart disease and he had a stent put in and a major blockage of his artery. And he found me on my website and he said, I'm really nervous. It sounds good, Linda, but I'm really nervous about it because my cardiologist told me I should eat fish and chicken. And I said, well, listen, here's what I'm going to do so you feel better about working with me. And this is what I do for any client that needs reassurance, because I'm not a doctor. And I just want them to feel comfortable with the information I'm going to share with them about what food choices they should make. So I said, look, I'm going to set you up with the leading heart reversing doctor in the world, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. I'm going to have you set up a phone call with him so you feel better about eating a whole food, plant-based diet. So they had a wonderful conversation. He says, I'm ready. Dr. Esselstyn said, go with Linda. I said, okay, you got it. So we went ahead and he reversed his heart disease. And his wife also lost her high blood pressure because she was eating along with him. And they're just so appreciative. And then that's just one client. But then I have a couple clients, well, one at least that lost 200 pounds. She's a very happy camper. We became friends for life. I have an elderly lady who has since passed away. She was in her late 90s now, but when she was 81, she lost like 4 dress sizes and her heart disease.
Wow.
And so, it's never too old to get healthy and feel really good. Because most people really, Ronnie, there's a couple things I know about people being this old that I am now. Number one, people don't like to be overweight. They really don't. Even if they say they feel good, they don't like it because they don't look their best. They don't feel their best. And unfortunately, their risk for chronic disease goes up. So most people want to be the right, correct body weight. They want to feel good. They want to have vitality. They want to get up in the morning bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They want to be able to sleep at night and feel good. And you got to do these certain things to get there. You got to eat the right food. You got to do your workout. You have to work out. You have to get sweaty at least 3 times a week and at least walk the rest of the time and do weight training. I do weight training twice a week, which 3 times would be better, but I do 2 times a week so I can get muscles. Yeah. Keep those muscles and bones strong. Because when you do weight training, you're actually increasing your muscle, your bone density, as well as your muscle power. And you don't want to be elderly and weak. That is not fun. I see people who can barely walk up the stairs. And so you can avoid that just by taking care of yourself. And so I have clients with all kinds of different issues, but I have some with arthritis. I had one lady who, she was in my aerobics class and we were doing push-ups and her hands were so gnarled from arthritis, she couldn't do any push-ups at all. Now, after she does a whole food plant diet, she can do push-ups. She uncurled her fingers and her arthritis went away. So it is amazing. Now, some people have genetic arthritis, but mostly people have arthritis from their food choices. So it is amazing. But then I've had people with acne who got rid of their acne.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good talking point with kids to say, hey, if you got acne.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's Jeff Nelson's two twin daughters wrote a book. I forgot the name of it, but they used to have, they were twins and they had terrible acne. And they changed the whole food, oil-free diet and sugar oil-free diet. And their skin is smooth. And they go around and lecture around the United States now. So it is possible to change the whole acne thing. You don't have to buy, what's it called? Proactin. It costs so much money and it doesn't work. You're not treating the root cause, right, which is the food you're putting in your body. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. I think talking to kids intimidates people because they're not quite sure if they're going to understand, right, some of the language about nutrition or really understand even the impact, because obviously when you're young, it doesn't matter whether you're 10 or 20 at times, because you still think you're immortal, right? Yeah. You don't really think about age. So I that's where I think for kids to understand that as you grow up, these are the situations that are going to potentially impact you. You want to be more aware and prevent these issues. I think that's where people struggle is how much will kids really care about eating
Well,
healthy.
I think if I were a parent today, see, my kids were pretty much out of the household when I started the healthy journey. So it was really terrible because I trained them so well to eat all the fat, sugar, and salt, and all the flesh of animals and the dairy products like cheese and dairy ice cream and all those horrible things. And so out of the three children, I have one child who is plant-based. And the other, some of them, they do a little better, but they're not because their spouses are not and their children are not. So you're lucky if you start early. Say you're a pregnant mom. If you can start there, you're in the best shape ever to have vegan kids all the way or plant-based kids all the way, because you can start them and show them the foods that you eat. And then they eat that and they get used to that and they like it. And then if you start a little later in life, say your kid's 3 or 5 years old, then you got to do another angle. You have to, first of all, you want to batch cook ahead every week so you have everything ready for you, right? Or early in the morning or late at night prep, something so things are ready. It takes a little more planning and organization when you're doing the plant thing. You can't just throw a meat on the grill and make a salad and that's it. So, and then you want to take your kids shopping with you. When you go shopping, have them pick out their favorite colors of produce. They like to do that. They like to help. And then when you get home, you want to have them help you mix things if they're not old enough to cut things. Just add things, ingredients, and whatever you're making. If they're part of the process, they're much more likely to eat it. And then I know one lady who had, her child was about 3 and she used to have to hide the broccoli because she wasn't vegan or plant-based. She hid the broccoli because her son liked it so much. She said, you got to eat your chicken first.
Oh, geez.
And he didn't want the chicken. And so had she known that the broccoli was the best way to go, of course she would have, but she wasn't plant-based then. And then my own daughter, even when she was like 3, 4 months old, I was trying to feed her the little jars of chicken. She would spit it out at me. And I'd be so upset. You've got to eat your chicken. Be a good girl and eat your chicken. And she hated it. Now, of course, I taught her later on to eat chicken. But back, her natural instinct was not to eat that ground up chicken. Now, so it seems so disgusting today. But what you need to do is make it fun for the kids.
Yeah.
You got to make it fun. So not only have them pick the food, but even give you ideas of what they like to eat and start with things they already know. Like if they like hamburgers, you make a veggie burger, right? If they like pizza, you make a veggie pizza. A burrito, you can even buy those outside at those fast food places, leave off the cheese. You can make tofu nuggets instead of chicken nuggets. There's all kinds of ways to get kids involved in things they already know. But one thing I would suggest is never to say, this is good food, this is bad food. Why do you do that? Because it's too closely related to you're a good boy, you're a bad boy, or good girl, bad girl. So just think of it as, this is the food that mommy eats because mommy wants to feel good, or tell them why it's good for them. Tell them, you can even start telling them early about animals. You can even suggest that I love animals and I know you do too, Tommy or Sally, whoever it is, and go visit a farm sanctuary. Have them go and see and feel the animals themselves. And I think we can go back pretty soon now. Thanks to COVID, we can go back pretty soon. And unfortunately, children are getting more and more obese in this country. It's just risen exponentially every single year. And this causes problems for them as adults because they will go right into all the health issues even earlier than maybe their parents have. So another reason why we need to keep them the correct body weight by moving your body, maybe not have them in front of the little iPad too long, playing games, and keep restricting that. I think that's really important too. Get outside with them, play with them, find friends who will play with them, whatever you can do to get them outside. But as far as the food's concerned, I wouldn't shame them if they want to eat something that's not on plan. Like if they go to a birthday party and they try a piece of cake, maybe it won't make them feel so well if they've been eating healthy either. But I also suggest that you offer to bring cupcakes that are vegan or plant-based so that your child has something fun to share with everybody. And when you go to restaurants, you can find vegan restaurants today, or you can ask the waiter if the chef will make something special for you. And they often will do that. It's your money. So they'll give you a big potato with some veggies and some beans or whatever, but you'll find things they can do for you very often, I find. So, and then if you're an adult, what I do when I'm going to restaurants where I'm with a bunch of non-vegan or non-plant-based people, what I do is I eat ahead of going. I just stuff myself. Then when I get there, I can enjoy their company and have a cup of tea. I can enjoy their company, but I don't have to feel the need to eat all that stuff. Saves a lot of money too, by the way, because eating out, I used to eat out quite a bit. And I used to go out and have, seriously, Ronnie, I would eat 2 glasses of wine, drink 2 glasses of wine, and then I would have like 4 bags of French fries and ketchup. That would be my night out. I thought that was heaven. French fries and a glass of wine. Whoa. And I think that's why I had cancer. No, I had cancer from the cheese. I ate cheese like nobody's business, cheese and ice cream too.
Yeah, people don't realize the impact of dairy.
Oh, the dairy, Dr. T. Colin Campbell will tell you that it's our most powerful carcinogen. It's meant for a baby cow, and it has IGF growth hormone in it. The IGF growth hormone is meant to be given to a baby cow to make that baby cow go from 10 pounds to 700 very quickly. And so when we eat it, that hormone, we grow quickly too, and we grow our DNA to a cancer state. So that's why it doesn't belong for us. If you don't have big ears and a tail, it's not for you. But we've learned to make that part of normal culture. It used to be people thought calcium, my kids have to have calcium. They won't have strong bones. And now we know that calcium from dairy or dairy alone into the human body is our number one reason for not only cancer, but also weak bones, because it's so protein heavy, it actually strips the calcium from your bones. The countries that eat the most dairy have the worst bones. So, and we have studies to prove all of that. It's not like my thoughts about it. And then we used to think we had to drink orange juice every morning or our kids wouldn't get vitamin C. Potatoes have vitamin C. I mean, you can find vitamin C in kale and broccoli and all these different foods. It's just everywhere. So then we used to think that we used to have to get protein from an animal flesh, that you would just fall apart. Well, here I am at 77, I'm very strong. And I haven't eaten any meat, chicken or fish or anything like that for 33 years.
Why?
I'm stronger now than I was before.
Well, I know you inspire a lot of people and you've won a number of awards. And when people contact you and they want your support, tell me a bit more. Tell us more about Vegan Mentor. What do you do as the Vegan Mentor?
Well, I have a meetup site. It has almost 5,000 people on it now. It's called, anybody can join it from the world now because of COVID. We all join everywhere, wherever you are, but the meetup is called Sacramento Vegan Society. And on there, I run my Vegan Mentor program. which is a 30-day program. Usually, I mean, I do individuals too on their own if they need it, but I also do a group vegan mentor program, which is a 30-day vegan health watch. And what I do is I have them, first of all, tell me what their issues are, how old they are, their weight and height, so I can get an idea of the whole picture. Everything is confidential with everyone. And after that, we do a phone call. We used to meet in person at the grocery store to go shopping, but now because of COVID, we haven't been doing that. So we left off the shopping for now, which I really miss because I could go through the aisles and say, buy this, don't buy that, and tell them which products are the best. Now I have to write it down which ones are the best. But I used to be able to meet them and see them in person, and I really miss that. But now we have a phone call and we go over their needs and what they need, whether they need to lose weight, whether they need to reverse their heart disease, their diabetes, their arthritis, whatever it is, I'm there for them. And I show them I give them a list of guidelines, and I give them some recipes, and I give them some food lists that I like. And we go over those and make sure they understand that for 30 days, they're going to have to eat on plan. Now, I know some people do a transition with people. I don't do that. I say, you want the health, I want to give it to you. So for the next 30 days, we're going to do this together, and you're not going off plan. Here's what happens if you go off plan. Say your grandpa turned 101 and you had to eat the birthday cake. I say, okay, sorry, you're not ready for me, but you can come back next month and we'll try again for another 30. Because I found out early on when I started doing this years ago, that if I didn't make it that strict, people always had an excuse. Oh, my sister came and haven't seen her for 5 years, and she brought me a ice cream cake. Oh. So I said, I'm sorry, bye. You come back next month if you want to try again, because we got to go. I want to get rid of the addiction you have, because most people, Ronnie, are addicted like I was. I was so addicted to cheese. I couldn't walk by the refrigerator without opening it up and grabbing a piece of brie or some other fancy cheese, because it's so addictive. It's meant to make the baby cow come back to the mother. And we're like little baby cows when we eat it. So anyway, I do that strict way because I say, if you don't go at least this long, 30 days, you're going to keep the addiction and you're going to want it over and over. Now, I want to say one thing about kids too. If you're in the grocery store and they're screaming for the candy bar at the counter, don't buy it for them. You do it once, they expect it every single time. Mm-hmm. So just provide all the healthy food you can find. And I want to tell you about one other thing about a favorite shake I have that I learned at PCRM, which is you take green grapes. I just put in there, if you have a big Vitamix or big food blender, I put a pile of frozen grapes in there, some frozen bananas, just chop them up a little bit. And then I put in a whole bunch of kale. And then you put your soy milk in there and you blend it. It's a bright, beautiful green. Oh, don't use red grapes, only green grapes. And it's a beautiful green and it tastes so good. It's just the most wonderful. What a way to get kale in the kids, right? That smoothie.
I do the exact same thing. That's my smoothie. Apparently, I've been drinking a kid's smoothie.
It's delicious. It's just so delicious. And the kids don't have any clue. But you know what? I even would have the kids put the kale in so they know what's in there too.
And it's interesting too when they know why it's good for you, right? Like what can the kale help you with? Or I like Game Changers as a movie because it showed that you can be strong and had all these strong athletes and recognize athletes that people go, oh, well, they look pretty good and they're pretty fast, and kids can be competitive as well. If you say, hey, you can, you got a little advantage over your other friends here, and you talk about it. My grandson actually, he'll tell people, well, don't. He says, hey, I don't drink milk because I don't drink milk from a cow, and he'll say,
no, you can explain this to kids.
Yes, they're not.
You can tell them why, and they get it. They get it.
They do. They do. Well, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Linda?
Probably my email, which is veganmentor@gmail.com.
Gotcha. And then, of course, they can visit your website. I can
Yeah, Vegan Mentor
veganmentor.com.
website. You can also contact me there.
Gotcha. And you're based out of Sacramento, correct?
I'm in Sacramento. Yes.
Gotcha. So they're
Sacramento,
local, and
California.
when the meetups start up, they can go to those meetups too.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to start because of COVID. We're going to have our first meetup in a park. We're going to bring our own picnic lunch, sit in a circle, bring your own chair. So we can be together somewhat now. That's about the best we can do. We used to have movie screenings. And by the way, you also want to take your children to like sanctuaries. There's bunny sanctuaries and elephant sanctuaries and cow and pig sanctuaries, and have them get close to the animals if you can.
Yeah,
So
they make the connection,
Mhm,
and it's
mhm.
fun. It's fun, and they understand and connect. Well, thank you so much, Linda, for everything
Oh,
that
you're
you
so
do
welcome.
and sharing information. And I look forward to your other event as well, your own Go Compassionate. At
Yes,
gocompassionate.com. I understand you've put together an amazing um, small team of people there to talk about being compassionate towards animals. So I look forward to that as well.
me too.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you so much, Ronnie. Thank you. Bye.